Hi, everybody. So great to see so many of you here. Thank you for joining us. And we have people from all over the Americas, so it's really great to see such an international crowd. Um, at Bloomberg Philanthropies, we believe that data and AI must be harnessed to help deliver better outcomes for residents. But it's not just tech for tech's sake or data for data's sake. It's about really deeply understanding the problems that our residents are facing. It's about testing and refining what we do with that data and how we use that technology. And it's also about change management, how we help our organizations modernize and bring people along with them in the process. And the City Data Alliance is designed to help cities do just that. So the goal of today's session is really super simple. It's just to help you understand, what is the City Data Alliance? Is it the right fit for your city? And importantly, how can you confidently put together a strong application for your city to participate in the program? Over the next half an hour, we're going to give you that insight into what this looks like in practice, what cities who participate in the City Data Alliance get out of the program, and what it really takes to be successful. And the cool thing is that you'll get to hear from some cities who have actually been through that process, who can talk about that from their real experience. You're also going to hear about the application timelines, so you'll know where you are in the process and what to expect. And then later on in this session, we will have a 30-minute Q&A. It's optional, but really I strongly encourage you to stay around for that, so you can ask all of your questions and also hear the questions that other cities might have. And you'll be split into breakout groups based on your preferred language. And then just one final thing to note, this session is being recorded, and we'll be sharing the recording with other cities after the event. I think that's everything. I'm delighted that you're all here to be part of this session. So let's get started, and I will hand over to Oliver.
Thank you so much, Carrie. And thank you to all of our guests who are here. We're really so thankful that you're interested in working with us, and we're really excited at the prospect of working with you. So my name is Oliver Wise. I'm Executive Director of the Bloomberg Center for Government Excellence here at Johns Hopkins University. And today I want to briefly share what the City Data Alliance is and our goals. And we'll, as Carrie mentioned, we'll hear from our city of partners who have been through this program before. So let's first talk about why the CDA exists. Cities around the world face enormous challenges: public health, economic mobility, resilience, and more. And we believe at GovX that AI and data represents an opportunity to find new solutions to these vexing challenges. Many cities already have done the hard work of building foundations with their data programs, but far fewer have had sustained opportunity to test what data science and AI actually look like inside day-to-day city operations, with real residents, real constraints, and real political and organizational pressure. And that's the gap this program is designed to fill. The City Data Alliance helps cities move beyond planning and into practice, supporting teams to apply data and AI responsibly to solve real resident problems. CDA brings together cities, expert coaches, and a global peer network around a common goal to help cities solve problems with data and AI. And since 2022, we partnered with more than 80 cities around 12 countries, representing nearly 80 million residents. And along the way, we've developed deep practice-based insights into what really takes to make data and AI useful in city government. So let's talk about what cities do in the program. One, cities enter the program with a resident-facing problem, often one that's persisted despite previous attempts to address it. From there, CDA provides structured support, coaching, and hands-on tools to guide cities through a test and learn journey. Over the course of the program, cities teams translate a known problem into a focused, testable project with clear users, constraints, and indicators of success. 2, prototype early using low-fidelity tests to explore multiple approaches, surface assumptions, and understand which ideas are worth deeper investment. Three, design, build, and pilot a minimal viable solution grounded in real user needs. And fourth, at the same time, strengthen institutional capacity, building skills, habits, practices so the work can be sustained, adapted, and scaled. Each city leaves with two things. One, a validated resident-centered solution and a practical playbook so the learning doesn't stop when the program ends. So let's talk about how the program is structured. The program begins with a focused scoping phase running from June to August. This phase helps cities answer some hard but necessary questions. One, is this problem actionable? Two, do we have the right ownership and decision makers involved? And finally, what constraints, data, staffing, policy do we need to design around? During scoping, cities receive a structured scoping workshop, strategic coaching and access to technical expertise, and a peer clinic where cities learn by seeing and reacting to one another's proposed projects. At the end of scoping, cities move into one of two pathways. One is cities ready to build and test solutions advance into the implementation pathway. Cities that surface readiness gaps move into a capacity building pathway with tailored recommendations and connections to additional support. So let's talk now about on the implementation pathway. Cities in this pathway move through three time-bound phases of learning and delivery. First, cities experiment. They test multiple ideas quickly using prototypes to understand what's feasible and what resonates with users. Next, the cities will narrow in. They'll take what they've learned and turn it into a working solution, making clear trade-offs about scope, features, and timing that can set up that project for success. And finally, cities put the solution into real-world use. They pilot it with actual users while putting ownership, governance, and plans in place so the work can last and grow beyond the program. This structure allows cities to learn before they commit, reducing risk while building confidence in their decisions. Here are some types of problems that we explore in the program. So over our time and our experience with this program, we see common typologies of problems emerge where data and AI can provide real value. We find successful projects focus on decisions like, one, who to focus on first, targeting and prioritization when needs exceed capacity, which is nearly always. Two, where to invest your limited resources. So how do you allocate and optimize across services or geospatially? Third, how do frontline staff and supervisors make day-to-day decisions and equipping those personnel with the data and insights they need to have in order to move quickly and wisely? Fourth, how do residents move through services from the resident's point of view, reducing friction and drop-off? And finally, which policy path to pursue by testing and modeling options before scaling and locking into a particular direction. These categories aren't fixed, but they're starting points that help cities scope efforts while staying flexible. So let's talk now about what successful cities have in common. We find that cities that move successfully from scoping into solution building tend to bring together a few critical capabilities. This isn't a rigid fixed template that's going to work for all cities, but we find there are four real key things you need in order to be successful. One, you need executive sponsorship with the authority to set priorities and unblock progress. That's really important. Secondly, you need someone who can do the dedicated delivery coordination to maintain momentum day to day. Third, you need the capacity on the team that has really deep knowledge of the resident-facing problem, rooted in lived operational reality. That tends to be someone from the department or agency that's actually delivering the services. And fourth, you need strong data and technical capabilities across the full data lifecycle. We'll provide you with supports there. That's a key part of the program. But it's important that we find the most successful teams do have some of that capacity already in-house. So with these capabilities in place, cities are able to move ideas into practice and keep them there. That's the framework. I should say, if you don't have all of these right now, that's okay. I still urge you to apply. And through the scoping phase of this project, of this process, and through our coaching, we can work with you to try to assemble these these capabilities. So, enough of these slides and enough of me. I think the most powerful way for you to understand this program is to hear the cities who have actually experienced it. They've tested ideas, learned from failure, and built solutions that fit their context. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Diana, who runs the CDA program. Thanks, Diana.
Thank you so much, Oliver. Hi, everyone. As Oliver mentioned, my name is Diana Estefania Estrada Alamo. I'm a senior program manager with the City Data Alliance program. I'll be facilitating today's conversation with our three wonderful alumni cities. We're joined by representatives from the cities of Lo Barnechea in Chile, Porto Alegre in Brazil, and Ottawa in Canada. Our hope is that with their reflections, those help you picture what participation could realistically look like in your city. So let's go ahead and begin with Angela from Ottawa. We're going to go ahead and take down the slides, and we're going to bring up our speakers so that you all get to see all of our faces as they're sharing their remarks. Angela, could you go ahead and briefly introduce yourself, your role, and then share what you found most valuable about participating in the CDA?
Sure. Diana, so nice to be here today and to have this opportunity to speak with all of you. So, as mentioned, my name is Angela Scallon. I work in the City Manager's Office in the City of Ottawa. And I was the CDA lead when we participated in cohort 3 of the City Data Alliance. Prior to joining the CDA, the city talked a lot about data-informed decision-making, using data to improve services for our residents. It's even a priority in our corporate plan, but what we were really missing was the how. How are we going to actually involve our data practices in a coordinated and intentional way? And that's really where the City Data Alliance came in for us. So one of the most valuable aspects of the CDA was the requirement for leadership buy-in. In Ottawa, this meant direct support from the mayor and the city manager. Having senior leadership visibly committed to this initiative helped give the work legitimacy and position data as a corporate asset. It also reinforced that this was about how we work as a city and not necessarily about tools or analytics. This alignment at the top also helped provide momentum needed for departments to fully engage and pursue conversations about governance, accountability, and shared priorities. The second thing we really valued was the design of the program that provided both structure but also flexibility in terms of meeting the needs of our city. For us, the process started with the data maturity assessment that gave us really an honest picture of where we were doing really well and where we had some gaps. We then used that assessment to move quickly to the development of a strategy that helped us in addressing those gaps through initiatives aimed that were focused on the 5 pillars of our strategy, so governance, quality, capacity, use, and transparency. One thing that we did that was a bit different from what was sort of laid out as the approach was to involve every department in our organization. The perspectives from the organization really helped us ensure that the strategy was grounded in real challenges faced by data users every day, and it helped build in buy-in from an enterprise approach. The third thing that we really valued was the expertise, both in terms of the coaches that worked with us, as well as the other cities. The CDA coaches brought practical, real-world experience and helped us translate best practices into something that made sense in a municipal context. That's sort of like another aside that I, so appreciate with the City Data Alliance is the municipal focus. There's a lot of organizations out there focusing on other levels of government, and so having that support was really refreshing and really helpful. The fact that we were able to learn alongside other cities was hugely valuable. We were all dealing with similar challenges, and there's a lot of reassurance and learning in realizing that you're not alone in facing those challenges. And that peer environment also helped us sort of pressure test some of the things that we were thinking and validate the choices that we were making, including our decision to take a very inclusive citywide approach. So overall, the City Data Alliance helped us really move from aspiration to action. And it's helped us, determine really a clear path forward that's going to help deliver on our mayor's vision for strengthening decision-making and delivering better services and outcomes for our residents.
Thank you so much, Angela. And yes, it's helpful for everyone to hear, even years later, we still talk about Ottawa's work in the CDA as a true exemplar. They really took things from sort of like, here was our starting point, here was sort of our small, workable, testable thing, and they scaled it out enterprise-wide. So just a really impressive work from that city and from Angela. I know you drove so much of that work in the city, so thank you for sharing your thoughts and reflections. We're going to go ahead and pull Camila up next from Lo Barnechea. Cami, tell us a bit more about the resident problem that your city focused on and the results you were already able to achieve through the program.
Well, thank you very much, Diana. I hear you well, right? I am logged into Spanish. Perfect. I am Camila Bustos. I am an architect. I am the head of the Housing Department of the Lo Barnechea municipality in Chile, the metropolitan region, concentrating 60% of the population. National population. So what was the problem that we focused on? Well, as many cities, we faced a challenge that is common, that the coexistence of very different socioeconomic realities in the same territory. And this has something highly virtuous, which is that we can provide municipal services of high level. I'm talking about quality services in health, education, and infrastructure. But this often comes at a cost of living in adequate housing conditions. And this is hardest to do as a product of living in this sort of territory. It has an increasing value. So from the very beginning, the problem as a macro idea was helping vulnerable families at a socioeconomic level that were accessing good municipal services, but that lived in inappropriate conditions. In this context, the Mayor, Felipe Alizante, set a clear priority to improve families' life trajectories by providing better support throughout different stages of their lives, from early childhood to old ages, with a particular focus on housing, homogenizing the services that are provided by the city. He didn't only give us the what, but how to better harness what the municipality already had in place. So at the start of the program, we realized something critical. The issue was not a lack of data, but rather that we were not connecting or using them effectively to inform decision-making and better serve residents in. And of course, this is evident because we have worked in silos. In the end, the problems do not answer to the departments or the structure of a municipality or a city as such, so we needed to generate more of a synergy. So from here, we put together a multidisciplinary, actually interdisciplinary team from different areas of the municipality. We were able to add teams that were already working on the ground and they had the trust of the residents, and we were able to cross information regarding health, housing, and social information. And by understanding the process, we were able to integrate the capabilities already installed in the municipality, and we identified a group that was particularly overlooked that were patients and caregivers of a severe dependency program, meaning disability, and they were receiving high accompaniment of house care, but they were not visible for other municipal programs. So what we did was approach them through the healthcare personnel, be able to work from their life quality, which was directly affected. And this was really interesting because it challenge the way in which public policy is usually carried out in Chile, where only the socioeconomic aspect is taken into account. So here we rethink this formula, and this was very interesting because we are trying to escalate this as much as possible. What were the results that we got? Well, we got a specific concrete product that is a data-driven prioritization model that allows us to proactively identify families with the highest level of housing and social vulnerability, particularly among individuals with severe dependency and their caregivers. What's interesting is that besides changing the way in which we were doing, this model integrates different data sources, and it became a practical tool for decision making, and it allows us to be proactive instead of reactive, anticipating real needs and prioritizing more fairly and strategically. Beyond the technical development, the most significant outcome was a shift in how we understand the problem and make decisions, as Oliver was saying at the beginning, actually understanding what's happening in the problem and then being able to face it, because sometimes you have some concepts that are not real, and it is important to actually give time to this and understand the needs of residents that you are working with so that you can provide support to them. What else can I tell you? Well, this change allowed us internally to break some inertia. Sorry? Yes,
I was going to say, Cami, could you maybe give us your last closing thought? I'm so sorry to interrupt you all, but motivation for folks to stay for the breakout room to talk to Cami more about her project. What would be your closing thoughts on the work you did in the City Data Alliance, Cami?
Great. Well, recently we were able to have a budget approved for executing this pilot program within the municipality. We're very excited about this because we're going to reach a safe port with the program. So what advice would I give you? Maybe just don't be afraid. Don't think that it's all about technology, because sometimes that's what's frightening for many people, and you try not to really get into that, and the more different people you include in your team, the better, because the result will be more interesting and better, and servicing residents will be way more comprehensive to the bone, and better for the development of the full municipality.
Thank you so much, Cami. I love that both you and Angela had this through line of the City Data Alliance helping you get to the how. Both cities came in understanding that they had challenges that they wanted to tackle. They just didn't know how to get to those solutions. So thank you so much for sharing those reflections. And for everyone here, Cami is coming from one of the cities that is just coming out of our most recent cohort. So this is a project that just happened now. This is not something that Cami's team sort of has spent years building out. They're seeing real results today. And I think that's one of the most impressive parts about this program, is the ability of different cities from all over the world to make real change. So thank you, Cami. And I'm going to invite our last speaker, Sonisi, to come up. She'll be speaking on behalf of Porto Alegre. Sonisi, so reflecting on your journey through the program, what surprised you the most? What were the moments of learning or challenge that really stood out? And what advice would you offer to other cities considering applying?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Sonise, Porto Alegre, Brazil. So initially, we were very surprised with the capacity of the program to adapt to the context of our reality and the speed with which the team responded with objectives and challenges that we presented along the program. So we do consider that during this program period, we had consistent deliverables that were very important to us. For instance, we were able to present our data maturity assessment for all departments. We were only able to do this with the help of our coaches. We did have an initial proposal, but we needed the program to help us out, and you did. We also advanced in our data inventory, and we developed our first version of a resolution, which is a data sharing policy. So as one of the main important products of the program, we launched our data strategy in the South Summit, Brazil, which was just in March. Wow, it was a great deliverable from us. In terms of insights and tips that we had, is that when we developed our data challenge projects with impacts to residents in the healthcare area, we built a prototype which motivated the health department to expand this to other areas within the health conditions. So the method or methodology used was able to be replicated. Our coaches were very important. I want to thank especially Bruno and Luisa, who were with us. They were crucial in the work, and they will replicate to other conditions in healthcare. Aside from that, the data project itself, the healthcare team was able to learn better with the data to give responses on the real situation of healthcare services. So this was quite a lesson learned. And exchanging with other cities is quite a moment of wealth. It's very rich because you're able to give responses to the challenges, which is common to so many. For instance, we changed relations with Bogota and Belo Horizonte. We had one-on-one meetings, and we were able to advance on things we had in relation to the data inventory and our platform for interoperability, which we're now developing. Not to mention that the products of the program of the CDA, they are very much aligned with the criteria that help us evolve in WWC certification. I'm not sure if the other municipalities have contact with this, but certainly it helps us evolve on our criteria. And so, in terms of an advice, if I can give, I would tell the team of the city, when you enter, identify and clearly beforehand which are our challenges or objectives that you can approach during the program. You need to have clarity. With that, you can take the most out of the instructor's experience and interaction with other municipalities, like I mentioned, with the exchange with other municipalities, because, sometimes one challenge that I have is the challenge that others have, so we can take the most out of. So I would also highlight that a major topic is to count on the sponsorship, as Oliver mentioned in the beginning, but this was fundamental. This was essential. I am the coordinator here, the data coordinator, but I was also the CDA lead of the program. But one must understand that the teams will have to dedicate time because it's really a hands-on program. So I let you know, if you're passive, just watching, you won't be able to go further. So with all the potential the program can offer. So to please have clarity on this, that you need to dedicate hours and dedication to the program. So you're having the support from the senior leadership and a dedicated team makes the whole of a difference. So that's it in general lines.
Thank you so much, Sonisi. I love both of those pieces of advice. I heard come into the program with a very clear vision for you, what you want to accomplish. And I also heard make sure that you are carving out the time to do the work so that you can get the most out of what the program has to offer. Appreciate all the remarks from our cities today. We're going to start pulling the slides back up. But again, as a reminder, Angela, Gami, and Sonisi will be joining us in the breakout room, so you'll be able to hear more from them in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to spend very brief minutes here talking about the application process, especially for those of you who may be a little bit new to CDA and the recruitment process. Essentially, the application is live. And here is a little of an image of, if you go to our website, you will be able to request an application. That's really your first step, to say like, okay, like here is our form that collects our basic information. We'll submit our basic information. And after you submit that interest form, cities will receive an email with a link to submit their application. They'll also receive a PDF version of the application in case that's helpful to you all to work collaboratively across departments or with your senior leadership. The application itself has 3 main questions. There's a couple of sub-questions in there, I'll let you know. But these questions focus on our 3 sort of critical areas that we want to know about as cities are coming into the program. So what's the specific resident-facing problem that your city wants to address? What tangible changes would residents experience as a result of that, if that problem were addressed? And who is the team that would be leading and supporting that work, right? What is the data that is available today at the city to help you do that? Those are the 3 big buckets that we're hoping for you all to tell us a little bit more about, so that we can sort of gauge whether you all are a good fit. And we can also tell you a little bit more about the program for you all to determine if we're a good fit for you. Okay. And now just a few key dates to keep in mind. The application deadline is 1 week from today, so April 15th. I know that feels like a really quick turnaround, but again, it's 3 questions. Our team is readily available to support you in your application. So we really encourage you to apply, put in an application, set up some time with us. And we look forward to hearing what your problems are that you're looking to solve for your residents. Okay. I'm going to now pass it back to Oliver to just close us out briefly, and then we'll be able to move into breakout rooms.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Deanna, and thank you so much to our city partners. We really appreciate your time and your really great insights. So you've heard now all about our City Data Alliance program, what we're trying to achieve with it, what makes it for a great team, what makes for a great project, and you've heard from the cities themselves on how to set up your own city for success. If there's one thing I hope you take away from today, it's this. CDA is not about having everything figured out before you start. It's about having the right problem, the right people at the table, and the willingness to learn by doing. We've seen cities come in with very different contexts, capacities, and levels of data maturity and still leave with meaningful progress, stronger teams, and clearer decision-making about how to use data and AI responsibly for residents. As Carrie mentioned at the start, our goal today is to help you decide whether this program is the right fit for your city, and we hope it is. If what you heard resonates, then we'd encourage you to explore applying. That brings us to the next part of today's session. So we're now going to transition into an optional Q&A where you'll have the opportunity to ask more detailed questions, hear from program managers, and talk through your city's specific context in your preferred language. If you have questions, uncertainties, or simply want to pressure test whether CDA makes sense for where your city is right now, this is a great space to do that. Thank you again for your time, your interest, and engagement today, and we hope to see many of you in the breakout rooms. Thanks so much.